You plan the perfect date, and she says the vibe is off. You work a double shift to provide, and she says you're never home. You bring flowers, and they're the wrong color. If it feels like you're chasing a moving target, it's because you are. But here's the secret: her own happiness usually isn't about you. It's a deep seated psychological program. Today, we're breaking down the 5 reasons she can't be satisfied and why you can't fix it from the outside.
The first layer we have to examine is the genetic baseline. Meet Sarah. On paper, Sarah's winning at life. She has a solid career, a partner who actually listens to her, and the lifestyle most people would dream of. But it's 2 in the morning, and Sarah is doom scrolling through social media, feeling like a complete failure because an old college roommate just posted a photo of a new kitchen island. This is the genetic layer. Psychological research suggests that about 50% of our happiness baseline is actually inherited. Some people are simply born of a brain that functions like a heat-seeking missile for what is wrong. If Sarah's mother and grandmother spent their lives bonding over what was wrong with the world, Sarah didn't just pick up a bad habit, she inherited a biological default setting. Her internal thermostat is set to a lower temperature than yours. You could give her the moon and she would complain that it's too cold and lacks atmosphere. It isn't a conscious choice to be miserable. It is simply the way her brain scans her environment for threats and deficiencies.
Then there is the father wound loop, and for this we look at Emma. To understand Emma's dissatisfaction today, you have to look at the ghost in the room. When Emma was a little girl, her father was either physically absent or emotionally out to lunch. Maybe he was a great guy to the neighbors, but he was a stranger at his own dinner table. Now, as an adult, Emma is stuck in a self-fulfilling prophecy. She says she wants a secure, nice man, but when she finds one, she quickly labels him as boring or uninspiring. Subconsciously, stability feels like a foreign language she doesn't speak. She is drawn to men who mirror her father's distance because familiar pain feels safer than unfamiliar peace. You will see her test a good man by picking fights over nothing, subconsciously waiting for him to fail or leave. When he finally gets frustrated, she can tell herself that she knew men would always let her down. She is looking for a level of validation that no partner can ever give, because she is trying to heal a 30-year-old childhood wound with a modern-day relationship. Next, we have the mother's mirror, represented by Lisa. Lisa grew up watching her mother treat her father like a project that was never quite finished. Her mother used unhappiness as a primary tool to control the household. If things were too quiet or peaceful, she would find something to complain about just to keep everyone on their toes and focused on her. This is learned behavior. Lisa might hate that she does this, but she has downloaded her mother's operating system. To Lisa, being a strong woman means having unreachable standards. If she is ever fully satisfied, she feels like she is settling or losing her power. She uses criticism as a tool for connection because that is the only emotional language she was ever taught to speak. If you fix the problem she's complaining about, she will simply find a new one because the goal isn't to solve the problem, it's to maintain the dynamic of being the one who deserves more. We also have to address the modern fantasy trap. We're the first generation in history raised on a 24/7 diet of main character energy. Between movies and social media relationship goals, we have been conditioned to believe that love should be a non-stop dopamine high. In our culture, we are taught that more always equals better. This creates the moving goalpost syndrome. She thinks she will be happy when they get engaged. Then it's the house. Then it's the perfect nursery. The problem is that she is comparing her behind-the-scenes footage to everyone else's highlight reel. When real life hits, when there are dishes in the sink and the spark feels more like a pilot light, it feels like a failure. She resents the routine, not realizing that a healthy routine is actually where a stable life is built. Finally, there is a profile that is hard to hear: unhappiness as an identity. For some people, being the victim is how they receive love and attention. If they were happy and stable, no one would rush to comfort them or ask what's wrong. They have learned that the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Over time, this becomes a shield.
If they are always overwhelmed or unappreciated, they never have to take responsibility for their own choices. They bond with other unhappy people by complaining. If you actually fix their problem, you aren't helping them, you're taking away their identity. This is why you see people stay in a cycle of griping even when a solution is staring them in the face. They aren't looking for a way out, they are looking for an audience.
The hard truth for all the fixers out there is this: you cannot fill a bucket that has a hole in the bottom. You can change your personality, your career, and your hair color, but you cannot cure an internal program with external solutions. Understanding these profiles, the genetic baseline, the father wound, the mother's mirror, and the fantasy gap, isn't about pointing fingers or assigning blame. It is about gaining clarity. When you realize the dissatisfaction is coming from a script written years ago, you stop taking it personally. You stop the cycle of overgiving that leads to your own burnout. Real change only happens when the person holding the bucket realizes they are the only ones who can plug the hole. Joy is an inside job. So, which profile did you recognize today? Let's talk about it in the comments. And thanks for watching.